It looks like we have a big group today. So let's begin. I'll call today's meeting for economic development to order at 8:30 this morning on June 21st, 2022. May I get a roll call, please?
Moving member Chavez,
Here.
member Selman,
Here.
member Renahan,
Here.
member Eckhoff,
Here.
member DeCiani,
Here.
and member Rutledge.
Here.
All right, and then there has been a request to allow remote participation from member Rutledge and member DeCiani for illness and work-related under Section 7A of the Open Meetings Act. Pursuant to Section A of the Open Meetings Act, if a quorum of the members of the public body is physically present as required by Section 2.01, a majority of the public body may allow a member of that body to attend the meeting by other means if that member is prevented from physically attending because of illness, employment purposes, or a family emergency. May I get a motion to allow member Rutledge and member DeCiani to participate today?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Welcome member Rutledge and member DeCiani.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, I just want to remind everyone for next month that we will do approval of minutes, I promise, but I'll do co-chairman's remarks real quick. We will not have a meeting next month, as is normal for economic development. And now if I can get a motion, please, to approve the minutes from our regular meeting on May 17th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Is there any public comment today?
There is not.
All right. So may I get a motion to approve and place on file our incumbent worker training memo for Ace Metal Crafts Company?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, and that motion carries. Let's see, we have a grant proposal notification GPN 03322 Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act grant, Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for the U.S. Department of Labor in the amount of $4,897,690. May I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. As far as our resolutions today, we have resolution FIR 024822, a resolution for acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity National Dislocated Worker Disaster Recovery Intergovernmental Agreement number 2067106, accounting unit 2840, 63,181. May I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Our next resolution, FIR 024922, acceptance of an extension of time for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Dislocated Worker Intergovernmental Agreement 2067206, accounting unit 2840. May I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then we have another resolution, EDR 025022, acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Intergovernmental Agreement 2168106, accounting unit 2840, in the amount of $154,555. May I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, and then the last resolution we have today, amendment to the resolution EDR 043521. This is resolution EDR 025122. Approval of payments to training providers through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, Intergovernmental Agreement 21681068106 in the amount of $389,100, and this is an increase.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. We have several change orders today. The first one is change order amendment to PO 4187-0001. This is issued to World Relief for an out-of-school youth program to extend the contract through September 30th, 2022. There's no change to the contract amount. May I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any? Yeah, sure.
Are all these because they just didn't use all the funding? And so that's why they're extending it?
That is my understanding, is that we didn't work our way Go ahead.
Well, because there's going to be a gap between when we'll be presenting to the board for approval of the new contracts. And so there is some leftover funding. So it's just kind of to bridge until the board approves the renewal of fresh contracts.
To make sure you use all the money without sending it back and you.
Correct. And what will be coming forward will be a new contract for World Relief and 2 new contracts for Parents Alliance. The Regional Office of Ed is not going to be, they did not submit a proposal for a new contract, so theirs will be done as of September 30th.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Another change order we have is amendment to PO 495001, issued to DuPage County Regional Office of Education for an in-school youth program to extend the contract again to September 30th, 2022. No change in the contract amount. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Another change order amendment to PO 4932001, issued to Parents Alliance Employment Project for Youth Training Services to extend the contract through September 30th, 2022. No change to contract amount. May I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? That motion carries. Lastly, change order amendment to 493100001, Parents Alliance Employment Project for Youth Training Services to extend the contract through September 30th, 2022. No change to contract amount. May I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, and so we move on to our presentation today. I'm excited to introduce Beth Marchetti of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. I know that the board approved through a hand raise only the dollar amount for that. And then we tasked her and of course our committee with going back and really redefining the ask, making sure that it's appropriate, taking into consideration what's coming from the state as well. And so it has taken some time for all those pieces of the puzzle to come together. But I think what we've come up with today is some great relief for our hotel industry and also allows us to do some prospective marketing for our community to drive business into DuPage County. Beth, do you mind coming back here so you can be seen? And
Yes,
then, yes, I know. So if you'll be here, then I think that'll work out well. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. So before you, I have a picture of our wonderful exhibit, Alabrejas, that's at Cantini Park. Yesterday, Anna Belival from WGN was there. So we were joining her live yesterday on Channel 9 News. So thank you. This event was able to be brought to DuPage County because of the grant that we wrote through the DCEO in partnership with City of West Chicago, the DuPage Mexican Cultural Center. So this is my little plug. Please go see it because they're actually made out of paper mache. They lasted through the wind and tornadoes that we had last week, but the artists have worked really hard. There's 6 artists here from Mexico City staying at our hotel. So really great room nights. So wanted to give that little plug before we start. Next slide, please. So you've seen this before. Our hotels have been hit harder than coastal cities, southern cities, leisure, because we are a meetings destination along with Chicago as a convention city. We ranked toward the very bottom in terms of revenue loss for our hotels. Next slide, please. So today I'm asking for the same amount that I did at the Finance Committee, which is $2.8 million for year one. $2 million of that would be allocated directly to the hotels per hotel room. The second line item would be working with Mr. Bedeloff on a marketing program. And then the $50,000 would be the 7-county regional CMAP tourism program. There are some goals at the bottom there. It's really to help our hotels recover. And when you help the hotels recover, 2019 numbers were 4 million hotel stays in DuPage County. Those guests in turn then stay in our communities, spending money in the restaurants, in our small businesses, in the shopping districts, and in our museums. So it helps everybody. Next slide, please. So we did tweak this program the most, and we worked with staff, county staff, as well as the finance team. So This $2 million would be appropriated among DuPage County hotels. Every DuPage County hotel would be eligible. I've already started conversations with the Aurora CVB because 3 Aurora hotels are in DuPage. We will be working with Naperville because those hotels are all in DuPage. Again, we would really want this to help support and bring business back. But so we're going to give a little bit of guidance through our training when we do 2 training sessions with them, that they need to use it for AV, transportation, hosting fees, material costs due to supply chains. I do want to let you know that linens are really hard to get right now. So they've had to use other vendors, and I'm sure you want a clean bed when you stay in our hotels. So obviously, to resume growth in our industry, I think I already mentioned, we would be communicating with all of our partners. We would be conducting 2 training sessions. There'll be a landing page and a portal. In your packet, there was a sample of the fillable form, but it'll also be stored in our CRM system and then gathered to give to finance. And I do want to chat about how Jeff wants that, if it can be in batches or you want me to wait till everybody, we'll discuss that. But it will not be to the national flag. It will go on the hotel level. And I want to emphasize that. I know Board Member Chavez has done a great job. These hotels are not owned by Marriott anymore. They're not owned by Hilton. They're owned by small business owners. Sometimes they do own 4 hotels. Sometimes they own 1 hotel. They're desperately hurting right now because the loans that they applied for in 2020, the banks gave them extensions in 2021, and now they're due. I remember in finance, Dick Turner from Le Meridian said he's been operating a net loss for the last 2 years. So we need to get these folks back in a healthy position. And then after all of that, we would submit for payment from the county. So I think those are the concerns that we heard. I listened to you and we came back with some solutions for that. So next slide, please. So the next program would be an extension of what we did with the CARES money, really talking about the drive market, if we can get these gas prices down. But we will be hitting the regional market because we're still seeing a lot of leisure travel. Next slide, please. I think I showed you this before, that we would really be targeting, depending on the dollar amount, the 3-hour drive market, because we know we have a big, huge population of where we can draw from. Next slide, please. And then the final ask is for the regional CMAP program. The first, last summer we launched, the only thing missing in is you. Now remember that pie chart there shows that 40-something% of our people were in Illinois, but you have to remember that we were still facing COVID mitigation. So we believe that we will have more out-of-state, out-of-market travelers coming if we launch a new program. In fact, I did already, but I'll show you that in the next slide. So thank you. That was the Visit Chicagoland we did in 2021 with our regional partners through the Chicago Metropolitan Planning Agency. When the 7 Color County chairs got together, we all met that first time, and then they broke us up into tourism, economic development, and workforce. So these were the programs that the tourism bureaus worked on together. Next slide. So we've launched this new campaign, which this is what I would be asking for dollars with. Summer brought to you by Chicagoland. Next slide, please. So that gives you some examples. Does it go down any further? No, that's okay. So in the first couple of weeks that we launched this, we helped promote Rip Fest and the concert. This now has changed because Rip Fest is over. Those 3 bottom Oprah polo that will be scrolling, but just to show you different events and different things that we're really trying to drive traffic to our area. So that's hopefully with extra dollars, we can continue that program into the fall and then into our holiday season. So that's been a really great program for us. It's great to see a regional approach because that's how consumers visit and go. They don't know that across the street is one community and on the other side is a different community. So we'll be working really hard to make sure that we got that leisure traveler back. The state is doing some leisure programs, but I think it's really important that we use these dollars to try to bring those meetings and conferences back. So I'm doing the small campaign, but the larger campaign that we're talking about would be a great place to do business, great place to have a meeting. That is, I think my last slide is a thank you. So I'm sorry, one more slide. So $10 million was distributed to the city of Chicago for ARPA money. Cook County, the suburban bureaus got another $10 million. So now Rosemont, Schaumburg, Schaumburg is considered Meet Chicago Northwest. Oak Park, Chicago Southland, and Rosemont all got another $10 million. Springfield got a $1.4 million allocation from ARPA. And then Route 66 grant, I was able to get a little bit of money for that to put a couple benches that had the Route 66 shield. That's an Instagrammable moment. So I'm really delighted about that because we can do like a passport along the Illinois Route 66. But the majority of people, Heritage, Joliet, St. Louis, Springfield are the ones that really benefited from that program. Lake County got dollars. Will County continues to ask for money. The state of Illinois did support us through ARPA money for this year and for next fiscal year. I have to say many of my meeting destination CVBs were cut because there were no meetings until June of last year. The destinations that have more leisure product, which I keep saying is not our high value customer. Our high value customer are not the people that stop on Route 66 and get an $8 hamburger. Our high value customers are those that come in, are here for a meeting, are going to Gibson's and all the different wonderful restaurants that we have and are spending significant dollars. So that's why we really need to be out front and center. Next slide. Now I'm open for questions.
All right, Member Eckhoff.
I just had some questions about the application process of the hotel. What criteria are we looking for?
We work with finance and the criteria is we're going to allocate per room. So the criteria is everybody was in business in 2019. We have the Department of Revenue source. So we have all the hotels listed. We now, because tourism is spelled out, Jeff, would you want to pipe in on that?
There actually is, and I don't know if you received it in your packets or if it was emailed out. There is a grant program attachment. It's a grant attestation form.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And it has a series of questions. The applicant is a sole proprietorship company or joint venture. The applicant operates a hotel in DuPage under a licensed business or licensed. They're licensed in Illinois under the Department of Revenue. So questions like that, I mean, we have that already lined out. I think we just need to get this.
I guess because your slide show that apparently you know all the people who own a hotel in DuPage County, right?
I have the general managers mostly from each of the hotel, which is where I want the
Well, we
money.
know where the hotels are. We know it's $112 per room if everybody applies. So why don't we just send them a check? What's the purpose of the application process?
Because the ARPA rules say that you do have to have an application process at some level.
I mean, the criteria, what you were saying is just that everybody's hurting, so they have the application process, they fill out their name and the address and send it in. I don't understand if everybody's hurting, why we're going through this long application process that's got to take staff time and your time. And the other thing is, you said that a lot of them are about to file bankruptcy or on the verge of it. Are we considered? I thought that should be a factor to consider because I really hate to give money to somebody who's just going to take it and go down the drain and pay off a bank and instead of using it to stay in business.
That's why I don't think that they're going to file for bankruptcy. I think they're going to try to figure it out, and they are starting to rebound. They need the money and they're going to use it for rebounding for business. So it's not just to pay off a loan.
There are questions on here.
You're down the drain, I guess.
Yeah, there are questions on here that, you know, state eligibility on our ARPA. The questionnaire is very simple. There's probably about 8 or 9 yes or no questions. And then
It wasn't so much the time for them to fill it out, it's the time for you guys to review it and figure it out instead of just issuing the checks.
I think that I can collect it really easily. We'll have an Excel spreadsheet and hand it over to county to cut a check.
I think we've made it as simple as possible. And I think what's the best part about this is we're meeting the guidelines to make sure that we're checking the boxes like we always do as a county with our government partners. And to your point, like, I mean, I think Greg can speak to this a little, but when we did the business program for the small business, we didn't guarantee that everyone that we gave money to was going to stay in business. Of course, that is our hope and that is our desire. But I think that we are selling ourselves and our business partners short and our hotels short if we don't trust that they know their business better than anyone and they'll get the money where it needs
Her
to
figure
go.
of being 80% down is a lot more than in restaurants and things like that. So that's why I was
It's a lot.
concerned about that.
I agree. I agree.
We have, our occupancy for March was at 38%. Fortunately, in April and May, we're seeing 60%. So it is starting to rebound. It's just not that high value meeting business. It's the people that are coming and using our pools.
Yeah. Okay. Member Red hand.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I'm a little concerned about just dividing it up so neatly and compactly to 112 per room and then asking for a 10% administrative fee.
That would be, the fee would be actual that we would submit. Up
So it's
to.
up to. So that was a concern that we had too, was we want to make sure that we're only paying for the administration that occurs. And because this is going to be so simple, it would just be an up to amount.
Okay, because that seems like a very high compared to what we've done in other things. And it seems like why even use your group when we can just write a check as a county?
Because I have a good database of all the general managers, all the addresses, all the emails. I can do the training program with them. That's my business. So, I mean, not my business, but my expertise on that.
Well, what do we do for Choose DuPage? Was it a 5%?
It was time and materials with a not to exceed number.
Yeah.
So
Which is exactly what I meant.
our effective hourly rate times the number of hours that we put into the programs. I'd have to do a little research to see what it came out to. It's a very small number as a percentage of the total dollars
Okay, that's
granted.
how I remember it.
But this isn't just for the grant program. This is for all 3 programs.
Okay, and I guess that's like kind of leading into really, that's kind of top level, but, you know, looking at, you had brought to us, and we kind of done the raising hands for finance about, this seems mainly hotels, but we had talked about some of the other park districts, sports venues, that kind of thing. And we actually just funded $150,000 that technically I think should have come through you versus coming through the county. I'd actually just like to see this amount reduced. I don't know what the thought is, you know, amongst my board members here, but I would like to see more because I really think I think you make a great point that it is such a great revenue driver, right? The sports, the venues. I mean, to see that natatorium being used, that is hundreds of hotel rooms, right? So I'm not seeing that though in this, what we talked about in your presentation.
Well, I did, in my original ask, I asked for significant bid fee money, and I did not get an overwhelming support for that. So we changed it numerous times. And I know right now I have 13,000 bowlers that are in Addison. So I think if there was any administration fee, that's probably what I would use it for, is hosting fees for not only the work, but then that line item would help me on the other side for admin, which ARPA doesn't really help with operations of your business. So I still am getting the sports commission up and running and funded, and we will still be using hosting fees because absolutely, right now I've got November, I've got a swimming meet. Next year, we're hoping to get water polo, and the year after that, we're getting a Olympic governing artistic swimming, which is synchronized swimming. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I know Mr. Pajewski and Board Member Chavez has been working with them. So
Okay, and so
great
you have,
venue.
and you have money for that. We're not going to keep getting asked for fees.
This year I'm asking for that. I did say if there was extra money, and I've got 2026 President's Cup coming up and we need to do something, that might be an opportunity. But for right now, this is what we're asking, and I'm hoping that our hotels will really be recovering by then.
And I'd be happy to put something together because I do think for me, the goal with this was to get the money out so that we could get it to the hotels that need the recovery. But I know we have had a lot of conversations, and I do think working with the natatorium did spur some great conversations as to what we can do as a county to really make sure that we make it a sporting venue opportunity. So I do think that's the natural next step here, is for us to look at what can we do as a county. And maybe it does mean that we take this chunk now, we make sure we're taking care of our hotels. And then we look at what else can we do from an economic development standpoint to really drive business to the county. So I'm happy to look at that as well.
Quite frankly, I think our approval was for tourism, not just for hotels. I think we were talking about the whole package. I know Beth, you brought it many times, selling on, what the this can get the that. I don't think that we were just talking about money for just hotels.
The hotels, if they have that money though, for example, if they want to host a hockey tournament, there's usually a rebate. It's very complicated in the hotel world. So they could actually use that money to provide the skating rights holder money to use their hotels. So that could be part of their money. So it's still impacting sports in one way or another. That was one of the official uses is for hosting fees, which is helping bring tournaments, any kind of group business.
I was just gonna say, in the first program that Beth brought forward, those programs are great, but there were so many of them that it was hard to quantify. How would we get back to the hotels and boost revenues and bring in tourism and whatnot? This is more of a model that Choose DuPage used, and Choose DuPage was very successful in their small business program. So, but to kind of answer your question, it was that for the first program, it was just too hard to quantify all of those events.
So then, thank you. So then, so this is going to be similar to the Choose DuPage program where the hotels are going to fill out an application and they can get up to $112,000. Is that correct?
$112 per room.
Or 112, okay, $112 per room. And then, okay, so then will they be coming back to the county? We're going to keep the money here then.
Yes. Mhm. And all the checks will be kept through the county. Yep.
And I'll try to make it easy for finance as well. If we have to put it in one Excel or check requests, or I'm not exactly sure how your process
The
works.
county's doing the administration then too?
No, we're handing them.
They're just writing the check, just like we did
Yeah.
with Choose DuPage. Choose DuPage administered the program, and then but the county cut the check. It's the same
So this
program.
is
that
really
we-
a hotel relief bill, not a tour, not an economic
But the
development.
thing is it's not, because it's not just looking at past revenue. What we're doing is we're trusting the small businesses that own these hotels, that they know their business needs better than anyone. They're going to use this money to drive business. That's what they're going to do in this current economic environment. So we know that this money is going to be used at that level. Go ahead, Member Solomon.
I think just a really good example of this, if I'm thinking, when we were at Intergovernmental last week or 2 weeks ago now, Mayor Veenstra was talking about the Addison bowling impact and how in Addison, there's obviously a massive impact. You can't go to a restaurant without seeing the lanyards, whether it's fast food or Walgreens or wherever it is. And then he was saying how, but it's spread all over the county. Did he say 2,600 rooms in?
That's what I think is best.
Yeah, in Downers, like, and that kind of shocked me because it's not a short drive from it.
Downers Grove, Doubletree is the host hotel, and they've been sold out.
Yeah, and the hotel is right along us, but I think if you think of those hotels, there are some that this is probably their first big business that they've had, and so they had to scramble and find the linens and the transportation and all those things. But then there's another hotel right at 83 and Lake in Addison that's been packed since the beginning of this pandemic. I'm sure they have needs, but they're probably different than the ones that have just now started seeing travelers again. And then anytime we look at whether it's development for people or economic development, direct aid is the most effective. So I think this is really creative.
I think right now for the bowling tournament, we're at 7,000 hotel rooms across DuPage County at 20 hotels.
Yeah.
And we've got the cycling event coming up in Winfield. I know we talked about this. Winfield, Glen Ellen, and Lombard. That has happened every year for the past years. It's been in Downers Grove. It's been in Elmhurst before. Right now, there's 254 rooms booked in one property. So it brings in, as Mayor Veenstra said, when he went to the restaurant, there were more out-of-state license plates than there were Illinois license plates. So those are the kind of people we need because they're spending the night. That program was also $200,000 in hosting fees.
Yeah, that gets to the point that I raised a couple of years ago when we had the bid fees we were being asked for the Addison bowling. And we see Cook County put money in, but Cook County has a hotel tax. DuPage doesn't have one, but all the municipalities have hotel taxes. So back then I was asking for the municipalities to partner. And clearly Mayor Veenstra said it intergovernmental. Restaurants were all full, license plates there. So, Addison should be, contributing because they're the biggest benefactor. Every one of the municipalities in DuPage got ARPA money, just like we did. The ones that have hotels, which is the majority of them, they got hotels, they get hotel tax and ARPA money. We have no hotel tax, we have ARPA. So I know Nick and I have discussed this a lot. When I first met with the natatorium, the first thing I said is, Westmont, you are the biggest benefactor having your hotel right across the street and your restaurants there. So Westmont should be participating too. If we're giving 150,000, they should. So we brought them to the meeting. They kicked in $50,000 to buy all the stands and screens to allow them to have more spectators, et cetera. But we have every one of these municipalities have ARPA money and they have hotels. So want to make this program bigger. We should be part of a matching program where the hotels are also putting ARPA money in. Same thing we're being asked for ARPA. And Jeff, I think when his team put together scoring for the park districts, assuming that they weren't going to have the total funding, if we had gotten 6 or 7 million, they were going to score them. And I think Jeff did one of the scoring was if they had contributions from, other places, i.e. the municipality that got a higher score, they would have got the money when we had to do that. So, I think we should be looking at having these municipalities. I don't know, Beth, if you've asked them, but they're the ones like Addison was the biggest benefactor of the bowling tournament for all the shopping. Because you're going to go to the closest place to the venue. Westmont's going to be the biggest benefactor for the natatorium with the 4 national events they have coming here, because the closest place you leave the pool and you go to the closest restaurants, and then you get spillover effect, go shop in Oak Brook. So I think we should be trying to get them to throw ARPA money in too.
They all are. And real quickly, you also have to remember that I do know my business and I do know that I'm working with the rights holders. The swimming competition only works with Marriott. There is not a Marriott in Westmont. They went to Oak Brook. They want double beds. Guess what? There are very few double beds at the.
So how much ARPA money are you getting for the municipalities then?
I got $300,000 from Lombard. I think I put a slide together
I
with.
didn't see it. So
And it's in
this
your
is
packet.
more, is that being put out by rooms? So you got a bunch of ARPA money too?
No, actually, the Hotel and Lodging Association from the state is also given $75 million for payroll and benefits. So my program is not duplicative. It's to help bring business back. And it was an easy program that I was asked by staff to do.
No, I think
We
I
didn't
talked.
want to give money directly to the CBB, so this is how I was turning it to give it directly to our folks who need it the most.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm just saying we were given 2 million, but are the municipalities throwing ARPA? Maybe we make it 4 million. We make it 3 million. We put 2 million in. The municipalities match us with ARPA money. That's kind of the discussion I've had with Nick and staff, is that, to make it bigger, we just ask the municipalities to throw ARPA money in too. Because I don't see anything. We put reports out all the time from the county. Here's what we're doing with our ARPA money. I can't see, and Nick and I had this conversation yesterday, what the municipalities are doing with their ARPA money. I don't see anything like they did this, they're using ARPA they all got ARPA money just like we did. And I'm not sure what they're doing with it.
And I appreciate that. I like the idea of the matching program, but I think at the end of the day, we can't overcomplicate this, because then we're just not going to get the relief where it needs to be. The whole goal with this was to keep it simple, get the money into the economy, get that drive going.
Trying to get more money.
And I hear you, but it also complicates. We've got to do our part. This is where we as a county have to step up. The municipalities have to step up too. But I think right now we've waited too long to get the money into the hands of these businesses. And we could redefine this program 100 times over, and there's no perfect program. But we have chosen this one. I think it's simple. It finance agrees. Beth knows that it's going to get to the right hands. We're going to drive business. That's what our goal is. Let's not keep rebaking the same pie. Member DeCiani.
Yeah, thank you, Chairwoman. Beth, I appreciate you bringing this forward. We need to get this approved. This is a long time coming. Our hoteliers need the money now, not in 6 months, not when we can get matching programs in place and deal with another 3-4 months of bannering. And I agree, it'd be nice to have the municipalities participating, but you know what? We need to step up as leaders at the county here and do our job. So I say we bring this to the board. Let's get it approved and let's get our hoteliers some help. Thank you.
Thank you, Member DeCiani. All right, so any other questions? All right, can we get general consensus here at the board? Are there any, small changes questions that we think, anything? But I think we're in a really good spot right now.
All right, just to
Yes.
clarify, next steps then would be the 12th, we bring this to Finance and County Board?
Yes.
Perfect.
Oh, I thought it was next.
No.
next
It would go
Tuesday.
into next county
Oh,
board.
28th, I'm
Okay.
sorry, 28th. I keep thinking the 12th is next, but we do
Yeah,
the 28th.
okay.
Yes, the
Perfect,
very
thank you.
next finance meeting. So yes, 28th.
I'm more than happy to also for a next go around or
Yeah.
something to work with our municipalities. I will tell you though, they already fund the Bureau with operations. They've been giving 25% of 1% for 35 years. And they feel that it is time, that they've been giving $8 million over the course of the years. And they would like to see some assistance. I agree with you. They did get ARPA money. Some of them are spending significant dollars. Lombard is supporting their hotels with security cameras. I'm helping them with a program. Sometimes it's going to a trade show that they can no longer afford to go to. So those are some of the more local programs. So there's a lot of different things out there, but I really, this has been a year and a half. I've made changes over and over. I asked for a lot more money. I came down and I came down again. I really strongly feel that. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity, but I think we need to get this into the hands of the people who need it.
I agree, and I'm happy to
Great.
kind of take some of the ideas that came up today. I think we definitely have a sporting venue opportunity, so let's take that as our next
But it's
step.
not just one sporting
Right, right.
venue. There's a lot of opportunities. There's 3 sheets of ice at the edge. There's, we've got a lot of sports opportunities.
I just want to note, but you did choose hotels over the sporting venues. I just want to make sure that was a choice that you think is.
That was
most
what
important.
this board asked me to do, to take sports out of there and not use it for hosting fees.
It was
Trying to
just too
reconcile today
complicated.
with our other conversations.
So any other question? All right. Okay, so I think, do we have any old business? New business? All right, without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get the honor.